In the headlines, expansion of the agro-processing sector expected as government activates a $15 million loan facility at 8 Bank. DFC to enhance the experience of Creole Festival patrons with practical changes at the venue, and a Newtown man before the courts in connection with a series of break-ins at business places in the city. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details right after this.
The government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority invite the world to the most unique and indigenous celebration of Creole cultures, the World Creole Music Festival, October 27th, 28th and 29th at the Windsor Bank Sports Stadium, Roseau, Dominica, featuring Marshall Montano, Movado, Sweet Mickey, Itana, Roman Virgo, Class, Yemi Alade, Kai, Zuko Stars, Bungie and Fayan, Triple K International, Ace Banton and more. Visit the DominicaFestivals.com for more information. Say Musicano!
Thanks for staying with us. An expectation that the agro-processing sector will be expanded through a $15 million facility for manufacturers now available at the 8 Bank. A signing ceremony of the agreement between 8 Bank and government took place on Thursday at the State House Conference Center. The funds came at a time when access to credit from the private sector within the Caribbean is a challenge. The Minister for Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development says increased employment and expansion of business activity are government's expectations with the advent of this line of credit.
Expected loans as requested by the manufacturers is directed at working capital, construction of facility, purchase of equipment and machinery, expansion and or improvement of the manufacturing plant, systems updates, marketing and promotion activities. This giant step we are taking today, along with what is already in place, will certainly help to address some core issues and reach desired outcomes such as improve access to credit. And this is an important pillar of any private sector development, and not just in Dominica, but the region as a whole. This was articulated in a conference, a dialogue just 2 weeks ago led by Compete Caribbean, and they articulated very well that access to credit seemed to be a major problem across the region. And they applauded the government of Dominica since this is non-existent in other countries in the region.
The loan is being offered at a 3% interest rate. Chairman of the 8 Bank, Martin Charles, has warned potential borrowers against delinquency.
As we sign this $15 million loan facility for on-lending to the manufacturing sector, we wish to advise the manufacturers that whilst this is a 0% loan to the bank, nonetheless, it is a loan. Therefore, we urge all borrowers of these funds to make good on their obligations to the bank, as the bank also has to meet its loan obligation to the government. Based on the loan agreement, the bank has relaxed the security requirements for accessing these loans. Therefore, I wish to advise the recipients that the funds contracted must be used for the intended purpose.
In related news, Prime Minister Skerrit says the door is open to investors with interest in setting up an agro-processing plant to receive financing from government. However, he says people should not expect such a venture to be a government initiative. The Prime Minister, who is also Minister for Finance, says it would be a bad decision for government to own any private business.
I know much has been spoken about in Dominica about agro-processing, and the government should build a plant, and the government should build a factory and all this thing. We have always maintained in the government that we do not believe the government should be in the private sector. I do not support the view that the government should be in the private sector. We should leave these investments to the private sector to effect. Because if you get the government into the private sector, then we're going to have to open a supermarket and sell the things much cheaper than they're currently being sold and put everybody out of business.
Skerrit says he is open to hearing the plans of private investors for an agro-processing plant here.
If anybody in this country, any investor in Dominica, who has a plan, who has the interest in setting up this agro-processing factory, come to me and we'll help you finance this agro-processing factory to utilize all of the fruits we have in Dominica and package them and bottle them. So we're prepared to finance, but we're not interested in owning any factory.
On another note, Skerritt says he looks forward to the manufacturer's loan facility, encouraging more diversity in the manufacturing sector.
We in the government do not believe that the country should be so reliant on the presence of DCP in Dominica. Because we saw with the closure of DCP, the absolute impact it had on our export earnings. And therefore, what we're seeking to do is yes, we have supported the reopening of DCP, so that is important, and we would like for it to expand in other areas. But we want to ensure that there is more diversity in the manufacturing sector and for us to take advantage of the export.
Moving on to entertainment, where organizers of the World Creole Music Festival are promising changes to the event to improve the experience. Executive Director of the Dominica Festivals Committee, Val Coffey, says these changes will allow patrons to enjoy less congestion at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. The lineup features the likes of artists such as Jamaican dancehall artist Movado and former Haitian President Sweet Mickey.
Our venue plan for this year it will take us hopefully a little further back, because we saw last year the numbers that we had. It was tremendous, and we had an overflow, so we're going to be doing some structural changes in terms of creating a new gate, a second gate in an area where you had one gate, people coming in, trying to improve on our lighting, make sure that we have enough space for our artists for the hospitality. But the most important part, we have a VIP this year.
Ease of access to the venue, more space for patrons to party, less bars, but with a wider variety of food available are among expected changes.
We are going to move the ticket booth from its existing location, because we realized last year there was some congestion there, because you buy a ticket and you have to try and line up to go through the processing center. So we're going to remove that area, that ticket booth from there, and then we'll announce a new location, which is not too far from where it is, but it'll be 100+ feet away. Then we're going to create a bigger processing center. Last year we had a thing of 30 by 30. We're going to go by a 20 by 40, so we'll have about 6 or 7 bays. We are hoping now to create a festival tunnel beginning from the East Lobak Bridge, coming straight into this area there, that with decor, and create an experience where we'll have when you get your ticket and you can have like this picture-taking areas. We hope to include some of our carnival, a carnival band or two, in terms of being part of the welcoming and presence.
Court news now. The police have arrested and charged Newtown resident Mitchell Fabu Bernard Phillip for a number of burglaries in Roseau from July 22 to August 15, 2017. Phillip is charged with burglarizing Kent Anthony's guest house between July 22 to 24, 2017 and stealing T-shirts, pants, a battery charger, and a few other items, all totaling EC $920. The other charge is that he burglarized Nick's Trading on August 9, 2017, stealing a number of items totaling EC $325. He has also been charged with the burglary of Kendall Minimart on 8 Hanover Street, Roseau on August 14, 2017. Among items stolen, a laptop, whiskey, and others, all totaling EC $2,534.50. The other charge relates to Josh Boutique on August 15, 2017, where it is alleged that he stole a laptop, perfumes, clothing items, and others, all totaling $26,082.80. Among his list of convictions are 2011 theft, 2011 handling stolen goods, 2014 theft, and in May 2017 theft. The magistrate labeled him a menace to himself and society, saying that the allegations against him breaking into buildings in Roseau are not good for him. Bail was denied. The matter is set for trial on 27th November 2017. He is unrepresented. Next up, structural upgrades for several police stations on the cards for this financial year. Minister responsible for the police force, Rayburn Blackmore, used the platform at Monday's handing over ceremony of police vehicles to announce the upcoming developments. A new building to house police officers based in Roseau will get government's attention.
We are further committed to ensuring that the police force or the police officers are given the best condition under which to work. And in that regard, we have started the process of doing the design for a new building for the police training school, and of course a new building to house police officers in Roseau, and to reconstruct the existing police headquarters. And we have actually started the process of repairing a number of police stations throughout the country, namely Portsmouth.
The main barracks for the Special Services Unit at Mourne-Bruce has been upgraded, while repairs on Dalis and Maho police stations are in the pipeline.
Maho police station extension is critical in order to ensure that we have female police officers stationed in the Maho police. We have actually started work on the construction of a new inspector's quarters in St. Joseph. And work, of course, as I've said just now, has begun. I'm very much elated that work has actually started on the police station in Portsmouth. We have also provided residents, new accommodation, for the police officers in Portsmouth. We'll continue to do that.
The police force is down for a human resource boost with training of 40 police recruits in September. Blackmore says the hope is to bring the force to 600 officers. You are watching the Channel 5 News. Coming up, preparing facilities and students for electronic exams.
The government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority invite the world to the most unique and indigenous celebration of Creole cultures, the World Creole Music Festival, October 27th, 28th and 29th at the Windsor Bank Sports Stadium, Roseau, Dominica, featuring Marshall Montano, Movado, Sweet Mickey, Itana, Roman Virgo, Class, Yemi Alade, Kai, Zuko Stars, Bungie and Fayan, Triple K International, Ace Banton and more. Visit the DominicaFestivals.com for more information. Say Musicano!
Welcome back. The Dominica Water and Sewage Company continues to play its part in helping to empower students across the country, especially those from the rural areas. The water company welcomed 2 new recipients of its growing scholarship program on Thursday as it seeks to complement government's efforts to eradicate poverty through education. Jariah Overson of Capuchin and Malik Joseph Phillip of Portsmouth received their school supplies during a short ceremony at DOASCO's office on Thursday.
Usually we would give scholarships to a child of a customer and one of a staff member. But this year there were no staff members who had any children who were eligible or rather who sat the Grade 6 National Assessment. So therefore, this year is a special year. We decided to award 2 scholarships to children of 2 customers, and they are here with us today.
The $750 scholarship awarded annually on merit could be discounted if students fail to maintain good grades.
Success does not come from something you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. This means that you must continue to focus on your educational development as you now further your studies at your respective high schools. Remain focused, as failure to do so may result in the loss of your scholarship. Therefore, you're encouraged to work diligently to achieve success to make yourself, family, and country proud.
DOASCO's general manager says the company views the granting of scholarships as complementary to government's emphasis on the social development of the citizens.
The work that DOASCO do is really more social than anything else. To providing water, which we say is life to all of Dominica and all of Dominicans, at rates sometimes that is, not economically viable to do so. So we do rely to a large extent on the government of Dominica to provide the resources to keep the operations going. Nonetheless, we see it as our social responsibility and also support of the government's programs to assist in other areas the best we can.
Besides the 2 new ones, the WASCO continues to support 6 previous scholarship recipients. In excess of 80 applications were received this year. We continue with this item where the Ministry of Education is putting in place the necessary infrastructure to facilitate students in taking electronic exams at CSEC and CAPE level. Education officials say in order for students to be successful at electronic exams, a lot would have to happen to improve the school environment, including purchasing of equipment and upgrading of internet service. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education says tighter security and improved storage facilities will be needed at school labs.
We have already begun preparations for our schools, as our schools certainly will have to be retrofitted for electronic exams. The government has already made funds available for improvement to internet and equipment and for purchase of the equipment needed to upgrade all our schools, in particular our examination centers.
Students will need practice to improve their level of computer literacy to be able to handle electronic exams. Convent High School has been commended for its efforts to provide students with experience in taking electronic exams. Convent students did all their multiple-choice exams in May-June electronically. This year, Isaiah Thomas Secondary School students were able to write the technical drawing exams electronically.
The students there were the only ones who were able to write their exams in that subject area using computers. And in that, at that school, they registered 100% passes in AutoCAD, in technical drawing.
And Caribbean fathers today can learn responsible fatherhood from the example set by the late Dominican lawyer and family man George James Christian. This thought was shared by historian and former University of the West Indies librarian Margaret Ruse Jones. Mr. Christian had 16 children across families in Dominica and Ghana. His children went on to pursue various professional careers. Jones, along with Christian's granddaughter, Estelle Appiah, wrote the first full-length biography about the prominent Dominican who later settled in Ghana. The biography, titled Returned Exile, is the result of 25 years of research into more than 5,000 documents. He was also a legislator, businessman, philanthropist, and a Freemason, and is described as someone with a social conscience.
I think one of the significant things about George James Christian was that he lived his life consciously and with purpose. And he lived it in such a way that he wanted to leave an example for people behind, right? And the only way that we could be having this conversation today is because he left documents. And that is something that must not be overlooked, because it is extremely important. Because if he had left no documents, there would be no book and there would be no interview.
Christian was also a Pan-Africanist, taking part in major conferences of the day into African independence and self-governance.
Although he did not come from the Gold Coast, he came from Dominica, as you are aware, he was elected by the people of the Western Province to represent them in the Legislative Council, which was the equivalent of Parliament of the day. And he contested an election for that. And he beat a citizen of the Gold Coast to win the vote to be elected to the Legislative Council in 1930. And he represented that particular area in the Gold Coast for 10 good years. And he actually died as a member of the Legislative Council in 1940. Everything in the book is documented. It's based on source material. There are 74 pages of endnotes in the book. And the book comprises 300 pages.
The book is published by UE Press and is sold at Urgent Care in Roseau and online at Amazon.com. That's news. Your sports highlights is next. First up in sports, local football fans will be treated to top quality football this weekend when the Dominica Football Association kicks off the 2017-2018 season on Friday. The highlight of the games will be a match featuring back-to-back champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Dublin Football Club and newly promoted Mao Soca Strikers. DFA's Public Relations Officer Gerald George has more.
The Dominica Football Association will kick off its 2017-2018 season with 5 matches in the Flow Premier League this weekend at the Windsor Park Stadium. On Friday, Bombers Football Club and Baffin State Football Club will get the ball rolling when they battle each other from 6 p.m. In a doubleheader on Saturday, Sagicor Southeast will take on Petro Caribe Point Michelle at 3 p.m. to be followed by Promex Harlem United versus Waukee Rollers at 5 p.m. On Sunday, Exodus Football Club will come up against Middleham United at 3 p.m. in the first match of a doubleheader, while at 5 p.m., defending champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Dublin Football Club will clash with newly promoted Mao Soca Strikers.
Next up, the local football governing body will continue its efforts at lifting the standard of football coaching here when they stage the second D-license coaching course soon. Friday's course is the second in a series of 3. The 3-day event will target 25 participants who work with football academies around the island. Head coach of the national senior men's team, Rajesh Lachu, and DFA's technical director, Jerome Badwill, will serve as instructors. They will be assisted by Youth Development Officer Geoff Faustin and Women's Coordinator Wayne George. The budding coaches will be exposed to a wide range of topics, including the DFA's vision for football development here. The coaches will also be engaged in a series of practical and theoretical sessions. DFA President Glenn Etienne will address the participants at the opening, which is scheduled to begin from 9 a.m. at the Football House. The first local D-license course targeted coaches attached to the various clubs here and was held in July. The third and final course will target primary school sports teachers. On the cricket scene, Darren Bravo and Brendan McCallum hit 8 sixes of the final 13 balls of a rain-reduced chase to leave host St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots shell-shocked as Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders escaped with a dramatic 8-wicket win via the Duckworth-Lewis method. The win increased Knight Riders' first-place advantage over Patriots to 3 points, and a win in either of their final 2 matches will clinch them top spot in the league stage. Batting first, Patriots scored 162 for 3 in 13 overs, with 93 from Chris Gale and Evan Lewis, 39. In reply, Knight Riders scored 88 for 2, with an unbeaten 40 from McCallum and Bravo, 38, not out. In related sports, West Indies head coach Stuart Law says the team needs to be honest with their assessment of their previous encounter with England and do what needs to be done ahead of their second test on Friday. Previously, the Windies lost 19 wickets on the final day of the first test, which resulted in England's winning by an innings and 209 runs.
After a loss like that, you always feel a little underconfident. But look, mate, you know, we've been honest with our assessment. You know, I'm a pretty honest person. You sort of tend to know the guys who aren't being honest, but all our boys are very honest with the assessment of what went on, and you know, we're aiming to put it right, you know, for the next 5 days.
Law says the addition of Chris Gale and Marlon Samuels to the ODI squad should help give the young players the needed motivation.
It's going to be great to have, you know, 2 very experienced cricketers. You know, they've played a lot of cricket in this part of the world as well, and you know, it is a very unique place to play. You know, the ball does do a lot more when you bat. And when you bowl, you know, you've got to find the right length, otherwise it can be quite easy for the batters. Those guys have got immense experience, obviously immense talent, so we're looking forward to having them back in the dressing room, and not only for their cricket ability, but also their mental toughness, but also their guidance to the younger players.
The Windies and England will play their second test on Friday beginning at 11 a.m. Meantime, Dominica started its campaign in the 13 and under Goodwill Cricket Series on a winning note with a very close finish on Wednesday. Dominica won the toss and chose to field first, with St. Lucia 11 finishing on 108 for 8 from 25 overs. Akeem Ogist scored 34 and Tariq Edwards 24 not out. Tyrese LeBlanc picked up 3 for 27, CJ Charles 2 for 10, and Kieran Phillip 2 for 25. Set 109 for victory, Dominica won just in the nick of time to score 109 for 9 from their 25 overs. Majid Peltier had the second highest score in that match with 32, while Morel Burton finished on 17 not out. Ryan Goodman took 3 for 8 for St. Lucia. Dominica won by 1 wicket. Sports continues with this item where the disciplinary committee of the Dominica Football Association has banned Vice President of Harlem Football Club Sheldon Kazimi effective immediately for breach of Article 30 of the 2010 revised rules and regulations of the Dominica Football Association. The ban is expected to last for 6 months, where the accused isn't allowed to participate in any activity organized under the auspices of the Dominica Football Association. Kazimi is also expected to write a letter of apology to President of the Dominica Football Association and copy it to the members of the disciplinary committee and all clubs. Said letter should reach the President on or before August 31, 2017, since failure to comply with same may result in further disciplinary action against him. That's all the time for sports. Join us next time. Time now for your weather update.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. A high-pressure system was the dominant feature across the Eastern Caribbean today. Infrared satellite imagery showed a few low-level clouds which moved across the island chain. Visible satellite imagery showed cloudy skies across Dominica this afternoon. Radar imagery indicated a few isolated showers across parts of the island chain this afternoon. The weather for tonight, fair to partly cloudy with a few scattered showers during the cooler late night to early morning periods. Tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy with some scattered showers expected by afternoon. Seas tomorrow, slight to moderate, waves peaking up to 5 feet. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers, an increasing cloudiness and scattered showers expected by Saturday and Sunday. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy skies and some scattered showers expected mainly across the southern portion of the region. On the international cities forecast, clear skies expected in New York, thunderstorm activity for Miami, and partly cloudy conditions in London, Caracas, and Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:52 a.m. and sunset at 6:23 p.m. We are in the hurricane season. Please stay up to date with weather information by visiting our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Expansion of the agro-processing sector expected as government activates a $15 million loan facility at the 8th Bank. DFC to enhance the experience of Creole Festival patrons with practical changes at the venue, and a Newtown man before the courts in connection with a series of break-ins at business places in the city. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsAug24th2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To all our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.